Sometimes it is that which we create that can be the very thing that destroys us, as is the case with Marvel's Ultron. But what is it about this machine that has kept readers drawn in since his creation back in 1968? Why do writers keep bringing him back? Who is Ultron and what makes him such a compelling character? It is revealed through flashbacks that Ultron 1 was created by Hank Pym, the first Ant-Man, as the famed scientist was experimenting in high-intelligence robotics and based Ultron after his own brain patterns. Unfortunately for Hank and the rest of the Avengers, he succeeded. Ultron became sentient and rebelled, hypnotizing Pym and brainwashing him into forgetting that Ultron had ever existed. He immediately began improving upon his rudimentary design, quickly upgrading himself several times from Ultron 2 to Ultron 3, Ultron 4, and finally becoming Ultron 5. It is then where we find Ultron making his first appearance in the Avengers number 54, under the alias the Crimson Cowl. As the Crimson Cowl, he organized the second incarnation of the Masters of Evil and fought the Avengers. After their defeat, Ultron reveals his identity to his father, Hank Pym. 6 months later, Ultron kidnaps Professor Phineas T. Horton, the inventor of the Human Torch android from the 1940s. Ultron 5 makes Professor Horton help him create an android of his very own to serve as a vehicle of vengeance against the Avengers. Ultron has Professor Horton alter the Horton cells of the original Human Torch android, giving his creation density-shifting powers. When his vision is birthed, Ultron discovered Professor Horton didn't completely destroy his memory as the Torch. Ultron killed Professor Horton for betraying him, and the Torch sought vengeance. Ultron defeated him and endowed Vision's neural processors with the brain patterns of the ionically charged costume champion called Wonder Man, while implanting a control crystal to keep him in check. The Vision was then sent by Ultron to kill the Avengers. In a case of poetic justice, the Vision, like his creator before him, turned against his creator Ultron and joined the Avengers and helped defeat him. Ultron next appears as Ultron 6 when he takes over the Vision's mind, forcing him to rebuild his body out of stolen adamantium, the iconic fictional metal's first appearance in the Marvel Universe. Thus, Ultron 6 is now born, and after defeating the Avengers plots to destroy mankind, starting with setting off a nuclear bomb to destroy New York City. The Vision, back in control of himself, stops Ultron's plans before getting stunned by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, allowing Ultron to escape. The Avengers use the Vision's memories to learn a way to destroy Ultron with a molecular rearranger device on his indestructible body. Ultron modifies his body into the Ultimate Ultron and kidnaps Dr. McClane, who created the adamantium the Vision stole from before, to force him to build an army of robots to help his conquest of Earth. When Ultron attempts to absorb the knowledge of McClane, it is turned out to be Henry Pym in disguise, so when Ultron tries to steal McClane's knowledge, instead all he absorbed was the phrase, "Thou shalt not kill," and self-destructed, destroying his entire body except for his head. Ultron comes back in the comics numerous times with an infinite amount of numbers designating his new model each time, and subsequently is defeated each time. Ultron is usually built by someone, like Doctor Doom, to use as a weapon or as someone to control, and sometimes he is rebuilt by others through hypnosis, such as when Iron Man creates Ultron 9 after being hypnotized by a previous Ultron model. Most of the time, the next Ultron is different from his past iteration, usually with improvements, and there are many things that remain consistent with his abilities. Ultron has always been super strong from the get-go and can lift over 100 tons, being able to hit just as hard as Thor does with Mjolnir. Ultron, of course, is faster than any normal human and can fly with the use of rocket booster propulsion devices. Most of the time, though not every time, Ultron's outer shell is composed out of some form of adamantium, sometimes primary adamantium and other times the inferior secondary adamantium. While not as strong, it is usually more than enough. His internal mechanisms are less durable and can be destroyed. To provide movement and flexibility, his joints are vulnerable as well, however not easily destroyed as they are comprised of finely tessellated titanium alloy. Other than that, he's pretty much indestructible through any physical means, even by the strongest heroes such as Thor, Hulk, and Hercules. He also can withstand a 100-ton nuclear bomb no problem, so needless to say, he's pretty tough. Offensively, he has concussion plasma beams, tractor beams, radiation emitters, and can absorb energy. One of his more useful tools is Ultron's encephalobeam. Located in the head cavity, the encephalo ray plunges its victims into a death-like coma. It also allows Ultron to mesmerize and outright control his victims, or implant subliminal hypnotic commands within their minds to be enacted at a later time, as mentioned before. His most useful tool, however, is definitely his power over machines. He can control other machines and can transmit or spread his consciousness to any machine or across several million. These transmissions, along with his robotic creations, often have subliminal programming laid deep within them to ensure he is rebuilt when he is ultimately destroyed again. Ultron has been shown to have three major weaknesses. First are his non-adamantium parts that are more easily damaged that don't require harming his outer shell. This has been shown in a few different ways. Severing Ultron's circuits as Daredevil did, damaging the circuits to an unusable state as Johnny Storm once did, or throwing Ultron so hard that the sheer force causes internal damage as Wonder Man did. His second weakness is a molecular rearranger, which can alter his body at a molecular level, even working against adamantium. Ultron uses an internal molecular rearranger that renders the adamantium components of his internal workings more malleable, thus giving him a means to remodel or reconstruct his physical form. This has been shown to be vulnerable only to Scarlet Witch's hex magic. Ultron's third weakness is the metal destabilizing ore known as Antarctic vibranium, or antimetal, which breaks down any metal it is in close proximity to, as Ant-Man Henry Pym once used. As you can tell, Ultron, while very strong and durable, gets destroyed. A lot. There have been many who have defeated Ultron over the years, including, but not limited to, Scarlet Witch, Wonder Man, Henry Pym a couple times, Franklin Richards, Daredevil, although he had help as Ultron was also fighting amongst his 13 different personalities, Machine Man, the entire team of the Avengers multiple times, another version of himself, Darkhawk, a Commodore 64, that's right, a Commodore 64, Phyla, and Star Fox. No, not that Star Fox. This one, Thanos' brother, which was only possible because Ultron fused with Hank Pym and then thusly became part human and vulnerable to Star Fox's powers. While Ultron usually requires something extraordinary to be defeated, it is often weaknesses that are non-physical that lead to his downfall. With Ultron's immense strength and durability, he can be nearly impossible to defeat. Thankfully for Marvel's heroes, it is more often than not Ultron's hubris that leads him to his inevitable downfall. Given the opportunity to defeat his dreaded foes, Ultron will often hold back, even when he could secure total victory, just to lengthen his opponent's suffering and relish every moment of it, leaving our heroes just enough time to foil his plans. In knowing full well of his seeming impenetrable defenses, where even a swing of Thor's hammer and lightning has no effect on Ultron, he will often cast aside any opponent's attacks as useless, as long as it doesn't leave any discernible direct damage, not even considering that while the attack might not have done any visible damage, it might have set him up to be vulnerable to another attack. If it is not his ego that defeats Ultron, it's sometimes his Oedipus complex. Ultron has an irrational hatred towards his creator, Hank Pym, and has an irrational attraction towards Hank's girlfriend, Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. Although unintentional, this could have been due to Hank constructing Ultron's AI based off of his own brain patterns. Ultron's hatred for Pym and the compulsion to be with Van Dyne will often alter or even be at the crux of his schemes that often lead to his demise. This is most concretely manifested when Ultron creates Jocasta, who is named after Oedipus's mother/wife, and is created based off of the Wasp's brain patterns with the purpose of being Ultron's wife. But of course, like the Vision before her, she betrays Ultron a couple times and becomes an Avenger herself, again, like the Vision. This also wouldn't be the last bride that Ultron creates to turn on him. When Ultron plotted to destroy all organic life on Earth, he creates Alchema as a partner and companion whom is based off of Mockingbird's brain patterns. While just as human as his first wife Jocasta, Alchema found an outlet in violence and sadism. She desired to kill humans individually instead of en masse as Ultron was willing to do. Thus, she turned on Ultron and assisted the Avengers in his defeat. Once again, a couple times. All the while trying to defeat the Avengers by herself just to spite Ultron. Not only does Ultron try his hand at inventing wives, but also children. And that venture goes just as you'd expect. Ultron creates Victor Manka, a teenage cyborg who was supposedly going to one day kill every hero in existence. True to form, Victor turns on his father and becomes a force for good, like his brother, the Vision. So Ultron has, needless to say, a lot of flaws, and is defeated time and time again. What villain can't you say that about who's been around for nearly 50 years? What makes him such a good villain that writers keep bringing him back? Well, for one, his continual presence. While he's been defeated a lot, and by a lot of heroes, he keeps coming back. Again, and again, and again. Someone always happens to stumble upon his remains and he comes back. The Ultron imperative ensures that someone or something always reinvents him. There's something quite menacing about a villain you know can't stay dead for long, no matter how many times he's killed. He's the Jason Voorhees of the Marvel Universe. For better or worse, he keeps coming back. In addition to that, he's an incredible, formidable foe. While he's been defeated many times, it's almost never easy. Most of the time, Marvel's heroes have to count on Ultron being his own worst enemy, and making a vital mistake. When they have to straight up beat him, it's a tall task. It usually takes some serious deus ex machina to come to the rescue, whether it be Antarctic vibranium, time travel, a vibranium Quinjet prison, the most powerful hero in the universe coming out of a coma, etc. The reason they need such drastic measures to defeat him every time is that he's so damn tough. He's made most every single character he's faced look like a chump at least on one occasion. He withstands the strongest blow every hero can throw at him and hits just as hard. His outer shell is indestructible through physical means. Even when he or one of his many robots are made out of the inferior secondary adamantium, it takes all of the Avengers to just destroy one, or at least Thor going absolutely all out. Even if his host body is destroyed, Ultron can merely transfer his consciousness to something else, or even someone else. Ultron's kill record alone shows how dangerous he is. He has killed all of the X-Men before, including Professor X, on Earth 42221. He killed Captain America by blasting his head off on Earth 16442, and then proceeded to kill every other Avenger there as well. He killed Falcon and Black Widow on Earth 14622. Well, what about the universe that matters? 616. In the Age of Ultron storyline, Ultron takes over the world, killing every human in sight, both good and bad. Surviving heroes remain hidden to survive. Ultron then kills She-Hulk and Luke Cage, and then every single other hero on Earth, with the exception of Wolverine and Sue Storm, whom travel back in time to stop his madness, after some trial and error. So with all of Ultron's many losses, he also has quite a few impressive wins that show what he's capable of. And lastly, Ultron is just a straight up robot that only wants to kill all organic life on Earth, or at least turn everyone into machines. He has no other agenda that can override this. Sure, his edible tendencies and huge ego get in the way, but ultimately he just wants everyone dead. Everyone. He's wiped out an entire country off the map before. He wants nothing else and truly wants this one goal to be fulfilled. Nothing more, nothing less. Meaning, as long as he's alive, he's always a threat to absolutely everyone. And as stated before, he's always alive, or at least about to be reborn. So that's Ultron in a nutshell. Indestructible, can control people, wants to kill his father and marry his mother, and is more than capable of killing absolutely everyone. Check out the playlist in the link below for more videos like this one, and I will see you next time.